All right, so I'm hosting tonight. I'm Harry Carter. As a friendly reminder, all meetings are recorded and we post these things in our community or also post it on our YouTube channel. So just be mindful. We do not post who you are, just actually the video. So if you want to come back, look at it later, you can look at the certain places. Next slide, please. Our agenda today is, the greeting agenda, meet the team. What we're going to do about Nancy, about Nancy, our new tech community. We're going to have an all call for speakers, the community announcements, and then it'll be speaker time. And then if we have time afterwards, we'll have time. We'll do some networking time, and then we'll close. Like I said before, I'm Harry Carter. Tonight, I am your host. I am founder, one of the founders of Nancy Tech, co-CEO of NCT Tech. Today, we have, if you see, look, I have my team right here, Nikkia Carter, Sigu, and Azora, and Imani. They all helped put this together, so thank you. Next slide. About Nancy Tech. We're a community group that is trying to bring Microsoft professional tech business owners and enthusiasts interested in Microsoft 365, SharePoint, Microsoft Teams, PowerPoint platform, and different other technical career topics, things like that, during a monthly session. This is here so that we could teach and others can learn, and we can learn from others as well. This is a place where everyone can pick up something and hopefully be able to take with them. If you are on social media, we advise you to post about this, and we appreciate it. All calls. We are looking for people to speak at a NASI. It doesn't matter if you haven't spoke before. If you want to speak to, sharpen your skills. If you want to speak to, convey a message or to something in tech or to teach, this is the place to do it, and we encourage you to do this. You could use the QR codes at the bottom to be able to sign up as speakers. All right, next slide. All right, we have some community announcements. We have a Green Action Summit that's coming up in Ghana soon. It's on November the 30th. It's about, climate change and getting things, to be green to save the planet. So support that is on Saturday, November the 30th, 9 a.m. It's in Accra. So please go support them if you can. Next slide. We also have coming up, I believe next week, August the 30th, 1 p.m. You have the Corporate Ghana Barbecue and Musician Festival. Go there, have a nice time out, support the vendors, and support the people in Ghana. We also have Welcome to Diaspora African Conference in Ghana. That's next week as well, August the 30th. That's on a Friday. A day full of inspiring talk. So if you can get out and support these groups, and these organizations, get out and support them because we need, everyone to be supporting each other. Next slide, please. Each one teach one. This is not a concept that we came up with. This is an old concept. It takes everyone to build a community. So everyone, not one person know everything, but amongst everyone is the knowledge we need to do whatever we need. So I encourage you to let everyone other ones know about this community. Invite them to come. Invite them to speak if they have knowledge that we can use. Next slide. All right. Before we go into the video, I want to make a quick announcement. The venue or the timing and the day of Anansi Tech will be moved. It will be moved to Saturdays as of next month. It will be at 3 o'clock. We'll be sending out briefs and ads announcing the change. That way, we'll be having more. It'll be a time where it'll be open time where people are available to attend. So, for those that are here, spread the word that it will be on a Saturday. We'll be sending it out. Look out for the date, please. Now that we've done that, this is a short video showing about how Power Platform solutions can work in the real world, how you can, adapt these things within the businesses that that in your area that, maybe this can inspire some ideas, things of that nature. So I hope you enjoy. Your sound. 2-second technical difficulty. Be right back.
My name is Thomas Bilbo and I work for Pacific Gas and Electric. We are a California-based utility. We cover about 60% of California, which is the 5th largest economy in the world. And my role at PG&E is I am a principal product owner for the Microsoft Power Platform, covering Power Apps, Power Virtual Agent, and Citizen Development. We chose the Microsoft Power Platform because it not only gave us the robotic process automation and Power Automate, but we also had that citizen development component that could enable our business users to actually build their own solutions. So we have about 800 digital creators, but we have trained over 2,500 people. And we have 144 documented solutions that are being used today from them. And there's more being worked on every day.
So with the Power Platform, we're able to bring scalable solutions on a modern platform that essentially kind of brings value not only to our group, but also deliver value to folks outside of IT. Being able to capture, ROI, being able to manage and control, I guess, the different aspects of the Power Platform, connectivity, security. We're a utility-based company, so security is very important to us. So being able to control that data. So with the Power Platform, we're able to bring governance and structure.
We track our intake for work that we do. We track that in an intake tool, and we capture the hard and soft savings. And so we're now able to look across not just the work that we're doing, but the work that citizen development are doing out in the business. And that innovation we can now classify and quantify. What we've done, we've saved 82,000 hours of time and $2.3 million in hard and soft savings. That one emergency app, which is what we consider a citizen development app, is saving $1,080,000. So those kind of savings that we see really show the business that the value that the Power Platform is bringing because we're implementing these solutions in record time. We have created our first chatbot that we call Peggy. She fields questions for our Technology Service Center, which is like our help desk. So Peggy is answering questions that people may have about applications, about how to get access to something. And then we've just recently built into it an RPA component, leveraging both Power Automate and the Power Virtual Agent to where she can unlock someone's SAP password for them. The innovation that people have had in the past using just basic Office products is now something that's secure and in the cloud. The other thing is, because of it's such a low entry to start with, it brings really that sense of tech equity, so that everyone who is wanting to somehow leverage technology, they now have the ability to do it. So we like to say that we're giving tech equity to all of PG&E.
All right, thank you very much for that. Okay, so the video. I hope you were inspired or by or have some ideas on how some of these tools can be implemented and how can you present these things within businesses that you know of. How can you speed up processes? How can you automate processes? How can you build dashboards, things of that nature, and truly help businesses grow? All right. Now, with that said, it is speaker time. Today we have Nikkia Carter. She's speaking on, she's the founder and sponsor and the organizer as well. What tech companies look for in an individual before employing them? We also may have, I don't know if she showed up yet, McKay, but she hasn't showed up. Well, then I'll be jumping in today and you'll be learning about Viva Learning. So I'll be doing a short presentation on that as well. We also have Albert Quist here. He's SharePoint Power Platform developer. Uh, Trigger, his topic will be triggers and power automation. So this will be a very interesting presentations today. I'm very excited to see it. So let's get it started. Starting first, Nikkia Carter. Can't hear you on me.
Yes, hold on, folks, 1 second. You know, you choose the right background in Teams, and sometimes it's just like, whatever, I'm going to put out whatever I want. So here we go. So we're going to go into this talk about tech companies and what they look for when they're hiring you. So my name is Nikkia Carter. I am co-CEO of NTC Tech and co-founder of Anansi Tech. And you can see a bunch of my, street cred on this slide, but we won't linger here. If you have any questions, please let me know by using the chat window as soon as you have your question. That way, if your question is asked when you're trying to get an answer, you'll remember your question right then. If you wait to a point where I break, then you might forget your question. So please note your question in the chat window, and I will try to leave time for questions at the end. All right. All right. So in this presentation, we're going to go through, what some of the companies look for when they're hiring you. Technical skills, of course, is a big thing that you really need to have technical skills, but problem-solving ability and collaborative abilities are also very key in landing a job in the tech career space. And then I have two other tools to talk about. One of them that you're actually in right now, and one that you've probably already learned about if you've been in our previous calls, but we'll go there later. All right, let's jump into a little bit more detail. So the application process, of course, you're going to have that resume and that cover letter. You want to try to find out, try to use your cover letter, make it a little bit more tailored to the job. Now, some people say tailor your resume as well to the job, and I would say that too if you have a lot of things in there that might not be as applicable. But I would only say that if you have a long period of time of already tech career already behind you. If you don't, then job experience is important that you have on your resume, any job experience. So make sure you have that. But if you have a lot of experience in the area that you're trying to get in, highlight that. And then your cover letter, go through the job description. If it's on LinkedIn and there's a person connected to it, like you can see the recruiter, go and find out about the recruiter, find out about the company, and then kind of tailor your message in your cover letter to match that job. That tailoring just helps you get a little bit of a leg up on people saying, oh, you took some time to understand what my company does, who I am, to introduce yourself in a way that is actually not so bland and generic, but very customized to that person. And then make sure when you're filling out the application that you are as complete as possible and you pay close attention to the instructions. This is one of the ways that you can also be cut out of the process, is if you are not very careful with the way you fill out the application. If it's a written one, of course, you want to have your best written handwriting available. Um, if it is one that's online, you want to be descriptive, but you want to also make sure descriptive where necessary. It's say if they ask you for, what is your experience? You don't want to just give your job title. You want to give some of the or your experience description, experience they might ask for your job title and then ask for a description of the job that you worked. You want to give an actual description, a short description, but an actual description. Don't just put your job title in that box. Also, make sure that you're paying attention to those instructions, because that's another way, as I was saying, that they will weed you out of the process if you're not being neat, not being complete, not providing enough detail, and you are not being accurate or following the instructions. That'll be a surefire way to get you kicked out of the process. Any assessments that they give you, make sure you take them and you supply them back. It may be something required during the process, the application process. This is actually something that we require during ours. We do give you some tasks to do when we are interviewing. But then we also ask for you to do some personality tests to see if you're a good fit to merge into our company as part of the NTC Tech family. So make sure that you're following all of those instructions, completing all tasks. And if there are any assessments that you can do for like coding challenges or other assessments around the technology that you're going for in your job application, go ahead and take those. There are a lot of free assessments out there, and you can add those to your resume as something to show people that, hey, I might not have as much experience, but I do have the skill set. All right. The interview process. So there's several types of interview processes that you could go through. Some people, some companies have several layers of interview that you have to go through. Like you have your phone screening, and then you have the first initial contact. This is something I went through with Microsoft. So this is a big company. Phone screening, first initial contact, your real interview, then the interview with the team, and then the interview with some peers of the team that you're going to be working with. And then they make a decision. But in some places, it's just a phone screening and the interview, and that's it. Or just the phone interview you might only get one interview. It all depends, but you want to make sure that you show up as your best self every time that you're in an interview process, even if it's on the phone and you're in an interview. You want to be upbeat. You want to show energy. Try not to be, stuff in you, because that's going to show that you don't really have interest, or that you might be a low energy person, and that might be a little, not wanting to do so much. So you want to show your energy and your enthusiasm for the job, whether you're on video or not, or in person or not. Um, the interview questions can be a lot of different ways. There are lots of videos, tutorials. If you have LinkedIn Learning, there's lots of tutorials there on how you can prepare yourself for some of these questions. There's usually some generic questions about like, how do you see yourself in 5 years? What are your goals? How did you find out about this job, and why are you interested? To the, tell me about a time when. Um, and each of those types of questions should be answered in specific types of ways. Like the tell me a time when, you might want to use the SWOT method, which I forgot. Of course, as soon as I said it, it left my brain. But it's it's like a 4-step process of stating the scenario, the problem, talking about the solution and how you got there, talking about how it helped the customer, and then talking about what happened after that. So there's certain ways to answer different types of questions that might be posed to you. And like I said, there are a lot of videos out there to help you prepare for all of these different types of questions. And I highly suggest that you do mock interviews, either with other people that you know that run businesses or with your family and friends. Just get them, print out some interview questions or write down some interview questions, hand it to them to ask you, and practice delivering your answer, being confident and showing that energy. Now, of course, aptitude is very, very, very important when you're in tech. You have to be able to do the technical piece. So you problem solving skills, super important. You could be the type to just code, but if you can apply creativity and you have those problem solving abilities, you will be able to not only just do basic levels of coding or basic types of programming or basic development and then get stuck in one area. You will be able to expand into different other areas and learn the technical skills there. As long as you're able to figure out the problem and try to figure out how to solve it, that solution, being creative, it can help you a long way when it comes to your tech career. Attention to detail is critical, especially when you're writing code. One little misstep, one little line wrong, even one letter could be wrong in your code, and that could blow all of your code up if you're coding. Or if you're doing some other type of low code project. So being meticulous, making sure that you're looking for errors and inconsistency, having people peer review your code or your designs or your work, for that attention to detail. So that when you're actually doing the job, you're doing it super completely, and that will show when you're on the job. You also have to have a willingness to learn. Technology is not stopping, it's constantly evolving. We had the cloud like a couple of years ago that came out, well, maybe like 10 years ago, 12 years ago, something like that. Now we're in the AI. AI is now the new thing. So it's always evolving. And within these cycles, there's all these little cycles that are continuously happening. That means you need to continuously stay on the cutting edge as much as possible, know it's coming out, and then try to learn that. Um, in our area, we're in Microsoft. So for me, when I first started my career, I started off as an application developing in mostly Microsoft coding, like C Sharp, C plus, Visual C plus plus, Visual Basic. I had to learn Java on the fly. I had to learn a bunch of different languages on the fly. Um, it was fun, but it also could be a little daunting at times. So I made sure I had peers around me that could help me with my learning journey, but I kept constantly learning. And then I got into SharePoint development just off of a whim. Somebody just offered me a job, and I'm like, sure, let me go look around about this. Oh, I can make that much more money? Yeah, I'm going to go do that. um, which is what I got into. Um, and then I turned that into Office 3, learning about Office 365, learning about InfoPath, which ended up turning into Power Apps. So continually moving on and on and on with the technologies has helped me to stay fresh and on the cutting edge, but also has helped me to be able to get the new skills that everybody is wanting in a certain area, and then being able to pivot to that, especially during times where there weren't that many people doing the things that I was doing. So if you could stay on that cutting edge, that will also be great, but you need to have that willingness to learn to even keep up with what's going on. So there are training videos, like I said, on YouTube and LinkedIn and the platform Balba that I'll talk about at the end. Um, and I had talked about the aptitude test during the thing, but making sure that once you have the job, you actually fit the culture, because you don't want to go into everything could look great on paper, but when you get into the workforce and you're working with people, if they're not a good meld for your personality, it's going to be an uncomfortable situation. All right. So, I mean, this says bonus slide because I've delivered this for another tech conference in Ghana. But This is the other thing I was talking about, joining things like a Nancy Tech community. It's a community of enthusiasts, so you get to from people that know maybe a little bit to people that know a lot, so that you can, share ideas, bounce ideas off each other, learn different skills. When you get stuck, you could have people to reach out to that can help you potentially with whatever, you're trying to tackle at that moment. Um, and then you can network. So, like I said, building that big network of folks, not only that you can connect with and collaborate with, but some of those folks might hold the keys to your next job. They might know of a job opening that you could apply for, and because they know you and they've gotten comfortable with you, they just automatically share, and then you're in the know. So, being a part of technical communities like this community is actually part of Microsoft's Global Community Initiative. There are others in that arena as well that you could attend, but of course, attend ours, our sessions. And then the person that I actually am taking up for today, Eric Wife, who normally is the one that presents about the Baobab platform. And the Baobab platform is a platform that, is like LinkedIn, but it was made for Africans by Africans, backed by MasterCard. So basically, some Africans and MasterCard got together. I forgot which country they were from, but they got together and they wanted to develop a platform for them to be able to talk back and forth with each other in different countries, um, all under MasterCard, and be able to share ideas and share trainings and, message and all of that back and forth. Well, it was such a success that MasterCard decided, and the folks, the people running the platform, the community, went and asked MasterCard, could they expand it? And MasterCard said, yes, it's a really good platform. So they expanded it. It has networking there. There's events. So events like a Nancy Tech is posted there. We've posted job postings there. So there are jobs that are also posted there. Um, there's learning. So there's a place where you can actually get different free sessions of learning there as well. And it's free to join. There's no membership fee. You can just join at www.balbaplatform.org. When it says something about which program that you want to sign up for or you're a part of, you can just skip that. You're not a part of any program. Those programs are part of the MasterCard Foundation, original folks that created the platform. All right. So that is basically it for me. I'm going to now peek at the chat screen because I was not this whole time. Apologies. And just seeing if anybody has any questions. Okay, nothing in the chat, but does anyone have any questions? You can feel free to come off mute and we can give you a couple of minutes. Okay, back to you,
Yeah.
Harry.
Thank you very much, Nikkia. All right. So I guess the next speaker up is Harry Carter. Is a young gentleman. He's come to speak about Viva Learning. So let me give a chance to get him real quick and share his screen. All right. Can you see my screen? Okay. All right. So as you go through your career or you go through your daily life, things like that, you want to keep your skill sharp. You want to constantly keep learning. You never want to sit still and just think that what you know is enough. So Microsoft has a platform where so you could bring all your learning into one place and you could use that platform within your flow of the work to constantly keep growing your skills. So let's get into it real quick. So there are three main views to the Viva app. You got the home screen, the home view, where you could discover new content, trending content, browse learning and content libraries. You got my library. My library is where you can access your recommendations, assignments, as well as learning collections, bookmark learning, recently viewed things that you read before, completed courses that you had before, and manage. In the manage tab, you could manage where you can track the progress of recommendations that you made. So that sometimes you can recommend certain things that you want to get up on later, or your boss can recommend things to you, right? So say for instance, you are want to learn about SharePoint or something of that nature. That's what you do. The boss sees some more learning things that helps your skills. That boss can recommend these things to it, and you can go back and check it out as you go through. Back to home. Screen freeze. Okay. All right. You have accessibilities, career development for your interests. So whatever you into, if you into Internet of Things, leadership, marketing, you have a very variety of things of interest you could pick from. And once you save it, it comes. Oh, now what is going on with my thing? Why is it running crazy? Oh, there we go. No wonder. Give me 1 second, please. Right. Okay, here you could browse your courses from different providers. Providers like when we get into that in a second. You could pick out how long you want these courses to be. Your providers can be people like LinkedIn Learning, Coursera, and various different things. Viva Learning makes it easy to quickly search and find different things you're looking on through the system. So if you want to learn about leadership, now you have a whole list of leadership things you can pick from. Your providers, like I said before, you can get it from things like Go1, Skillsoft, um, LinkedIn Learning, Microsoft 365 Training. It's various ones you can get. You can pick how long you want it to be, 45 minutes, 10 minutes. From here, you can see the courses detailed, like descriptions, content types, views, and ratings. For the first party sources like Microsoft and LinkedIn Learning, you can watch their courses in the app. By expanding the content navigation, you can easily jump from chapter to chapter. Now, let's say you wanted to add the courses to your calendar to finish it in a later date. So you can add it to a calendar. And it show right up in on your calendar in Teams. Or in chat, Viva Learning leverage core teams capability like chat and conversation to enable social learning. So if I want to take a course or something like that and show it in a team setting, you can do that. So if we're in the middle of a presentation or we're in the middle of a group meeting and it's something we don't know, but we know it's in our learning center, we could type it in, pull it up, and we could all view it and we could all learn from it and then grow from there. Let's check out the My Learning view within the Viva Learning. The My Learning view is a great way to stay organized in your learning journey and keep track of your learning tasks. First assigned to you shows learning assignments from learning management systems that your organization has connected to your Viva Learning, like SAP, Successful Factory, Cornerstone, or Saba. Each card shows the course sources as well as due dates and flags due overdue assignments. These syncs automatically. You'll also get a Teams notification when you receive a new assignment from your organization learning management system and when assignments is due. So let me break this down and the someone can assign something to you and give you a certain amount of time to get these things done. That is good in a lot of ways because sometimes as we're working, we tend to put things on the back burner because we think we have more important things to do. But we forget to add in that extra to keep your skills sharp. So by putting a due date, let's say, okay, Dan, I need to at least put 15, 20 minutes each day of learning to maintain this schedule of growth. And that helps not just you, but it helps the organization or whatever endeavor you're getting into. It makes you more well-rounded and it becomes a habit. Here you can also see all the courses you bookmarked. You can also view the learning content that your manager or colleagues have recommended to you. You can also see recently viewed content. From here, you can see all the courses you completed. Here you can learn collections. Collections are a group of learning contents. Any Viva Learning user can create a collection and share them with others. You can align your collection to specific interests or learning goals. You can start by adding a title and a description. Then you can also set a thumbnail for your collection or choose the default image and done. And this is how it will come out looking for that learning course. You can add additional content to the collection. Once the collection is created, you can share one or recommend it to others, or keep it private for your own learning goals. Even if you're working outside of a team, Viva Learning contents will come up across all Microsoft 365 endpoints. So if you do a search in your SharePoint, Bing for work, or Microsoft 365, courses will show up there as well. That also includes all sources of learning content you have connected into Viva Learning. You can see courses showing up in SharePoint with a keyword search. This creates a powerful way for learning to seamlessly integrate throughout a employee productivity journey, ensure it also easily accessible and at top of mind. As a manager, it's important to show employees that you value their growth and development. Viva Learning provides a few ways to enable teams connections through learning. Viva Learning. You can add irrelevant titles for the tab. catalog the course. You can search the pools for all different sources of content. And save it. Once saved, a pre-populated tab with all selected courses will be created. Another great management tool is Viva Learning and the recommendation and management feature. Recommending is a more formal way to share learning content. Let's say you found a great learning path that you wanted to recommend to someone on your team. You add the names of the employees you want to send to the recommendations to. You can include a short note. You also want to include a due date. And then you recommend. If you want to review the status of your recommendations, you can do so on a manage tab. From here, you can see the date each recommended courses was created and the course due date, as well as whose the course was recommended to. You want to get a more granular look at each team member's progress. Here you can see the completion progress as submitted by your employees. Update progress on recommendations and is optional. Next, we're going to go to the admin experience. How much time we have? Okay. Let's start in the 365 Admin Center to figure the learning source that shows up in Viva Learning for your organization. Once you find, okay, let me do this my way because I don't like the way they present this. Okay. In the Office 365 Admin Center, you should be able to go into settings. In settings, you'll have an org setting. Once you go to that org setting, you'll be able to come to Viva Learning. And it should be already populated in that if you most likely because if you have Teams or E3 license, it's already populated in there. So it's more of a plug and play. So once you click on it, it opens up. You can pick whatever courses that you have that you want your organization to have access to. So for instance, with our organization, we have Viva Learning and Microsoft Learning and Microsoft 365 Training. Now, it automatically come with these two, but the rest of them have to be subscription based. Another thing I like about it is you can create a SharePoint site inside SharePoint and load different learning tools about various things within your own organization. And you can load that in and that will populate inside Viva Learning. That's good for those who wants to know about old projects that happen. If I designed an app and then I'm no longer at that company, once I design that app and I create a how-to, I can stick that how-to in a folder within the SharePoint site and it will show up in Viva. So I can go back, look later and say, okay, maybe it was a, fire alarm app or a farming app. I could type that in there and pull that app up or pull the instruction for that app so I can recreate or rebuild or fix something like that. So it's very useful. Okay, so they're gonna go into showing you how to create a site. We're not gonna go into all that right now, but inside your site content, there's already once you set up your Viva, it's already a learning app content repository. This is where you would load the content that you need from your Viva that you want to bring from your organization to Viva. You would load all that information into that, and then within what was it, 48 hours, something like that, it shows up. Okay, so to allow the broader access to the Learning app content repository, a link to the list will be surfaced in Viva Learning. So basically, once you put these content in, you turn them in, you create them into a URL so it can use the URL to read that content. And the steps are very easy. It walks you right through it as you're doing it. So as you see, you have HR library and then the folder URL. And that is what Viva reads. And once that Viva reads, you can pull all of this information that you put in this library will show up in Viva Learning. Also, you can set permissions for admin tab in Viva Learning. You can access more admin features. The admin tab display for all admin tenants. You can create or manage. You can manage permissions, things of that nature. Because maybe you want some things for some people, some for others. So as knowledge admin or manager, you have the ability to manage access to learning content. You can add permissions on one or more courses. Okay, so let's set up a feature. Let's not go into all that. This is like a 2-hour presentation, so I'm not trying to jump too far in it. But okay, so let me pull out of that and pull this back up. And now, this is my Viva Learning. And in my Viva Learning, I have LinkedIn Learning, and I have different things from the Microsoft all through. So the way I do it is I set up different courses in the process of my growth, advanced branding, how do I do these things? And I add a certain amount of time daily. And it's right in your teams. If you have teams, it's right in your team. So those who have it, I advise you just come through the 3 dots and put Viva in. And the Viva Learning will show up. And then you'll be able to navigate back and forth as your leisure to be able to help your growth. Some of these things are audio, so you can actually listen to it on your phone as an audio. So that's my presentation on Viva Learning. Any questions? All right, Arnold.
Okay, hello, can you hear me? Hello?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear
All
you.
right. There are two questions I want to ask. First, is it a paid platform? And secondly, do they give certificates after you're done?
Could you say that one more time, please?
All right, I'm asking, is it a paid platform or it's a free platform that you can join, which is the Viva Learning? I'm asking if it's a paid platform or a free platform. And then secondly, do you get certificates after you're done? For instance, like Coursera, I used to work with Coursera. One or two things from Coursera. I had a certificate from there when I was done for a particular course I took. So I wanted to know if it's the same for Viva.
Okay, so Viva comes with the Microsoft 365 license. You can get it two different ways. One way you can get it by, well, actually, a few different ways. By buying a license, an E3 license or E5 license, or you could buy the entire Viva suite. Um, as far as the learning materials, Coursera, things of that nature, a lot of those are things that different companies already have subscriptions for. So they have to pay, it's a paid subscription. What this does is bring all that learning material into one place so you can put that within your flow of work. So that, I mean, you won't have to say, okay, you know, do I want to learn on Coursera today or LinkedIn or, you know, go to this page for this, go to this site for that. Everything is right there. You can organize it and have it organized to the point where as though you could have your own swim lane of, okay, I'm gonna do this today, this is the first course, and then I'm gonna go to the next course and then the next course. It just all brings it into one area. So all the outside things like that, yes, those are paid subscriptions. Viva Learning is not something that you get free. You get it through the Office 365. I hope that answers your question.
All right, I get that. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions? All right. Thank you very much for hearing me. For putting up with me. It was a spare of the moment jump in. But I appreciate y'all listening to me. Now it's the exciting time for our keynote speaker, um, Albert Quest. He'll be speaking about SharePoint and the power of Power Platform developers, um, triggers, and the power automation. He did a very insightful presentation last month, and he will be building off of that. So I give you Albert Quest.
Thank you very much, Harry, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone. I'm not a presenter yet.
All right, you should be good to go now, Albert.
Yeah. So let me know if you can see my screen. Is my screen visible?
No, I think you're still seeing my screen. I stopped sharing. There you go.
Is mine visible now?
Yes, I see the Nancy Tech background.
Okay, yeah.
Yep.
So that's a brief about Albert Quist. Same as what we saw last month. So we are going to go into the Power Automate trigger. Last month, I took you through what the Power Platform does and went deep into Power Automate, and we were able to build some flows using Power Automate. So now we go deep into what Power Automate actually looks like and where you get started from. So what is a trigger? A trigger is an event that initiates the execution of a flow. So see a flow as filling out a form and your users getting an email notification. That was what we demonstrated last month. That is a flow. So yes, also think of it as the starting point or the first step of any flow. So that is the trigger. The event that causes the flow to execute is the trigger. So now we look at the types of triggers. We have the instant or the manual triggers. And these triggers allow you to run a cloud flow with a tap of a button on your mobile device, or it could be any hardware, provided you do the necessary configuration. You could trigger a flow using that. So for example, you can create an instant flow to remind your team to join a daily meeting. And this one, you trigger it yourself by pressing something, the flow gets triggered. So that is the very first one. The second one we are looking at is a scheduled trigger. So this trigger can be used to run a flow on a schedule and see the schedule as sending a weekly report. You can have a flow that will spool a report, give it the right format, and send it to your boss, maybe every Monday or every Friday or bi-weekly. We are going to look at that. You can also specify the date, time, and frequency the flow should trigger. So that is the second one. We move to the third one, and this is the automated trigger. So these triggers start a flow automatically after a specific event occurs. So last week, our demo was an example of an automated trigger where after submitting a form, you get the notification. So the trigger was when a form is submitted, it should automatically send out an email notification. So yes, an instance is using the flow to notify people by email when a tweet containing a keyword is published out there on X. This should be X now. Okay, so let's get into the fun part, which is the demo. So over here you can see where we have the three common ways of pushing the trigger. So we have the automated, the instant, and the scheduled one. So in the meantime, you can put your email in the chat so that you'll be getting the notification as and when I push it out. So we are going to start with the automated trigger. Okay, no, so for the automated trigger, we can visit the flow that we used last month to just demonstrate what we did. So I go to my flows.
You're being asked to turn up your to speak a little bit louder, Albert, just so you know.
Okay, okay. Is it okay? Is it for everyone?
It's better. I wasn't hearing it clearly. It was sounded a bit now. I think it's better now.
Okay, but is it okay now? Okay, okay, okay. So the automated flow, this is an example, and that was what we used last month. So let's actually look at it. And in this flow, we created a Microsoft form. And when the form is filled out, you get notified that your form has been submitted. That is an example of an automated flow. So what we did, and oftentimes the very first action you see in your automation canvas is the trigger. So this flow will be triggered when a new response is submitted. So when it's submitted, all we are doing is to get the response detail and then send an email notification to the person who filled out the form. And this was the email body for last month. So dear, your name, and then your feedback. So that is an example of an automated flow. So we go on to an instant cloud flow. And as we said, so let's call this one instant Anansi demo. And we are going to choose the trigger because we want to trigger it manually. We select the manual one and create. So now all we want to do is anytime you trigger this or you press it, as I said earlier, this could be a button or an app on your phone. So when you do that, okay, sorry. So we have your trigger. Now we want to add an action. In subsequent month, we are going to look at the various actions that you can call on and see the action as the various products or components that Power Automate can interact with to have things done for you. So then the action we are going to add in this demo is going to be the Outlook, that is sending an email action. So when you select the plus button, you see add an action. So we are now going to type send email. If you do send, you are going to get a list of actions that has to do with send. But what we are looking for is the Outlook product or tool to send the email. So I'm going to select see more to explore all the actions in Outlook. So over here, what we are interested in is to send an email, but we can perform all these actions using the Outlook action. So in subsequent month, we are going to take the product bit by bit and then explore all the actions in it. But for the purpose of today's demo, we are just going to send an email. So if you have your email in the chat, I'm just going to copy that. Let me minimize this. Let me know if you have your email in the chat. So I'm going to input my email. And then I can type. So this is a test. Let me just do thank you for joining. Thank you for joining Nancy event for the month of August. This is a manual trigger. So let me quickly go into the chat. Okay, we have Harry. We have Liz. I'm just copying this quickly. Oh, yeah. So I have my sister also joining. My sister Alberta Quist. She's joining all the way from China. Thank you for joining. So yes, that's Alberta Quist. Segu is a known person. Harry is a known person. Let me go to Charles. Yeah. And Arnold. think I got kicked out from sharing.
Yeah, I might have to just try it again.
Is it visible now?
Yes, you're visible.
Okay. I want everyone to get the email notification. So just give me some time to populate this. And I think the last one. Okay. So I forgot about the subject. So Anansi manual trigger demo. Okay. So I'm going to save this. I'm going to keep my fingers crossed. So immediately I hit the test, it's going to run the flow. I want to trigger this manually. So you use the automatic if you have a history. So there are instances where your flow does not run, but you want to run it again. You use the automatic to get that particular one and then to run it again. So because it's our first time, it's disabled for us. So we go with the manual one. I'm going to test this. Moment of truth. So let me know if you get the email notification. Anyone? Anyone got the notification yet? Okay, not yet. So let me just use the time to explain what I was saying concerning the history. So if I select the ellipses here, you see the run history. So it was successful. So now I would go into my flow itself and just play it out. Hopefully they should trigger and run. Okay.
Okay, started coming in. People getting it. LB got
Yes.
it.
Blood is thicker than water.
I know
Okay.
you was holding your
So
breath.
I know, right? Demo day demons. Sure. Segu understand. Like,
Yeah.
it's now leaving Ghana to wherever you are. So, but I'm surprised it got to China before getting to other parts of Ghana. Okay, so now we have our instance flow done. And yes, this is one unique thing about your flows. The thumbnail you get as part of your flow actually depicts the trigger. So over here, you can tell with the hand that it is something you trigger yourself. And this comes from a SharePoint. So a SharePoint triggers it, and this from a Microsoft form. So we go into our scheduled flow. Wait, let me open this in another tab so that I can get to copy all the email address again. So I'll just leave this one here. So now I go back to creating a scheduled flow. So we looked at the automated cloud flow. We've looked at the instance flow, and now we are looking at the scheduled flow. Now, this is the interesting thing about the scheduled flow. You get to set the starting date as well as the time and the frequency, how often you want the flow to trigger. So there are instances where probably I'm using a typical use case where I used this. So if you build an application and you want your application to check, or you want your flow to frequently check something for you, probably an event or a submission or whatsoever, this kind of flow is good for you. So my flow would run today, and I want it to start at, okay, yes, so 10 a.m. it has started. 10 a.m. is still within today, so it started, sorry, in Ghana, 10 a.m. in Ghana. So I'm going to call this flow the scheduled Nancy flow demo. And I want it to repeat every minute. So I'll go ahead and create this. Now, let's watch something interesting over here. I want to copy this action. So if you right click, you see the option to copy. So I just do copy action. Now it is copied to my clipboard. If I come here, I right click again, I have paste action, and I can paste the exact thing inside. So you see everything here. The only thing I want to change now is manual to scheduled. So I'll go ahead and save this. And I'm going to test it. And yes, there are instances where after creating the flow, it is turned off. You need to turn the flow on yourself. So whilst that is being pushed, let me go back and show you how to turn your flow off or on. So I'm going to use the instant flow. I'm still going to select the ellipsis, and over here you see turn off. So you don't want to delete your flow, but you just want to turn it off. You can turn it off. And for a scheduled flow, if we don't want to delete it, we just turn it off over here. So yes, let me know if you've received the email. Yeah, Charles received the email, as well as Kaki. Yes. So if let me know if the number of times you receive it, because this is a scheduled one. Yes, Arnold.
I received it. I just wanted to know.
Okay. So if you receive it again, let me know, because the interval is every minute. So we want to be sure the flow is being triggered every minute. So with that said, I think I can bring my presentation to an end because I've discussed the main things, the triggers, and the main ways of creating the trigger. So any other question? Segu is clapping for me. Thank you, Segu. I miss you people though.
Well,
I miss you.
Yeah, we miss you too.
Okay, so it's twice. Samuel says he got it twice. Hey, 3 times. Okay, Charles. Charles got it 3 times. Okay, so yes, the flow is working. So because I don't want to flood your email with thank you messages, although we are grateful, we don't want to flood your emails by being grateful. I'm going to turn my flow off, the scheduled flow off. But just so you know, we are grateful to you for joining our event today in the month of August. So the flow is turned off. If it's turned off, you see it's graded out. So thank you very much for listening in. Special thanks to my sister for coming to support me.
All right. Thank you very much, Albert. Very inspirational. Very learned a lot. I hope everybody else learned a lot. Any questions? I have a question. The reoccurring flow. How far out can you extend that time?
Let's look at it together. So we are going to edit this. So you realize aside the dates that you wanted to run, the frequency, you have the month, have the week, the day, the hour, the minute, and the seconds. So you can set it to run, and this is going to run every month. So once in a month, or 2 times in a month, 3 times in a month. If it's a week, you can set it to once, and then set the days that you want it to run on. So Monday, Friday, you can also set the hours. So it's dynamic based on how you want it to run. I hope I've answered your question.
Yes, thank you very much for that. So that means that we could schedule pretty much any type of form, email, or anything and connect that to that flow and send it out on a specific time that we want, when we want. Like if we wanted to do marketing or send out a newsletter, wink, wink. So to do these days. So thank you very much for that, Albert.
My pleasure.
All right. Any other questions? If there are none, thank you very much, Albert. We tried, what the heck? We hope you enjoy and networking with us, speaking with us, joining us, sharing ideas, thoughts. We encourage this because all of we all have a goal. We also have a job to do, as if we are wanting to bring forth the type of technology to Ghana in the way we are speaking about doing. So it's help us spread ideas and understanding. I'd like to remind everyone that next month we'll be moving the day to Saturdays. That way we will be able to be more people be available to come and benefit from what we have to offer. Doors open at 1:30 Ghana time. Well, actually, yeah, that's Ghana time, and 6:30 my time. Topics will be I could tell you the topics. We will have an extension of um, Power Automate and how to do emails in the Power Automate from Albert. We have another gentleman that has been invited in to come in and do Power BI. That should be very interesting, and we will have Art back to talk about the Bulba platform, and that may be an extended date. We might have one more speaker because it will be our grand opening or reopening for Saturday. In front of you, you have the QR codes. If you scan those, you'll be able to get the company page, the post-event survey, and the community page for discussion and Q&As. You should be able to log in to get this deck. We'll have the recording ready in a few days. Other than that, thank you again for being here, and we'll see you next month. Now I'm about to kick everybody. Y'all ain't hear that.
We
We'll
did.
kick
We
ourselves
did.
out.
I'll see y'all next month. Later.